How many of you know people who have 401ks?
Yep, a lot of people.
Right?
Do you know myself on them?
Okay, you know people who work in corporate, right? They're everywhere.
Yep.
They have 401ks, right?
Vital information.
They don't know.
Vital information.
Because they force you.
Okay, they don't know that they're in a trap. Okay, so your IRAs, your annuities, your pension fund, your Social Security, and your investment. Do you know you pay tax on Social Security?
Yeah.
You sure do.
Oh, yeah. It's a tax you pay tax on.
We see it on our pay stubs.
Okay, right? Then over here I said the tax advantage was another code word, right?
Yeah.
Politically correct. The real word is free.
I bet you everybody in the White House got that.
Yep.
Well, you already know that your president don't pay taxes.
Oh, he told us that in his campaign.
He sure
Right,
did.
Yeah.
Right, and that's cool.
Yeah.
The problem is he didn't tell you how to not pay taxes too.
Right.
That's the problem.
Not cool.
That's what's not
Exactly. That's what they thought he was going to do.
okay, right.
That's what they thought.
Right, okay. So there's a way to minimize, we call it mitigate your tax liability. Mitigate your tax liability. There is a way to reduce how much taxes you owe, and there's a way to not pay taxes legally. So I ain't mad at him for that. I got some other things on my list I can be mad about. I ain't mad at him for that. Okay? So sometimes we're not paying attention to the right things.
Right.
Okay? So all that other stuff is a smokescreen,
Right.
while we're living in the largest transfer of wealth in the history of this nation. Okay?
And he's a millionaire and don't pay, and the middle class pay the most.
For everything.
The middle class makes the world move.
The middle class makes the world move, right? The middle class is the bottom,
Yes, we are.
right? It's the bottom, all right?
Yep.
The 529, how many have heard of a 529?
No.
A
Student.
No? Okay, yes, great.
Student.
A 529 is education funding, right? Saving, right? So this is also a tax-free account. However, you have to use the money, can only use the money for education. I have one child that went to college and one child that did not. And we ain't mad at him because he didn't go to college, right? His genius is someplace else.
Right.
All right? If my child who didn't go to college, if we had that money in a 529 and I decided, well, he's not going into college, I want to help fund his entrepreneurial pursuit, they would tax me 40%. They would take half my money because I'm not using it for educational purposes. Okay?
That's the biggest ripoff.
So,
I said that's the biggest ripoff.
Yep.
yeah, right? So, but here's the thing about it: we sign contracts to do all this stuff, right? And they don't. But they don't. When they sell it to us, they don't tell us that the 401k is a tax trap, right? Because the person in HR, they don't know either. They're happy they got one.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They're like, hey, right? I'm just saying.
That's right.
So in your 529, you know, you got to read the mice type to understand that if you don't stroke this check to college, university, and now they've changed the law, it can be private elementary school.
Well, that's good.
It can be private high school or college.
Oh.
Right? So they're giving you some more leeway to be able to use it, right? Because you can determine that you want your child to go to what high school you want your children to go to, or what elementary school you want them to go to. But when it comes to going to college, right, you made a choice to go.
Yeah.
Right? You couldn't say, I ain't going. No, I don't want to do that. Okay? So your 7702, how many have heard of a 7702? Now these are great. These are tax code numbers, right? 401, right? Those are tax code numbers. What is a 7702?
So it's almost like a self-thinking, and usually you have people who are very high income that use this plan because they understand that there's a great tax advantage to become like a family bank. That's the way I have heard it.
I think that in my 3 years, you're the only person who's ever been able to say what it is. Because people raise their hand and say, I know what that is. And I say, what is it? And they go,
rich people use it.
Right? Okay. So the 7702 is give me roll back. I'm going to show you. I already shared it with you. What is it?
Tax advantage.
Index.
Give me, keep going. Yeah, go back.
Forward.
Go
Go for it, right there.
Index.
Yep.
Index.
Oh, all right.
Mm-hmm. 7702.
So, in the wealthy world,
Basically, your money is locked.
they call it infinity banking,
That's right.
right?
You're right.
They call it infinity banking. It's private banking.
That's right.
It's where you can put your money
That's right.
to grow at a cap at about 15%, right? And I explained 15% and a 0.75 floor.
Yep.
Some have 13% and a 0 floor, but the concept is the same. You cannot lose money, right? And you can put money into it up to a guideline premium, and we can turn 20-year-olds, 20-somethings, and early 30-somethings into millionaires.
That's right.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
in a matter of
Right. You're listening?
into
You're
years.
listening? Right.
Okay.
You said what?
By the
Take all my money out
time,
the bank.
right? By the time,
Except for
they're like
emergency
35,
fund.
40 years
Emergency
old,
I
money.
need that. I
right?
keep a hole
Right.
in my backyard beer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Now, so the people who
And
are
it's
my
tax-free.
age, I'm 62. Okay, so the people who are
Because it's not income.
You look great, Robin.
I show her off to everybody. I say, guess. Take a wild guess. They can't. 30, 40. No, try again.
So
Very good.
Thank you. Right.
Right.
So at 62, the question that we generally have when we come in the room, we the boomers, right? We come in the room and we want to know, well, is it too late for me? The answer is no.
Nope.
No. Because you can put this to work for you now, right? Because at 62, I sure plan on being here by 90.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? I mean, I've been a natural healer for 45 years. I know how to do some things, right? Like rejuvenate natural skin cells and all that stuff. I know how to do that.
But that's also building generational, which we don't, as a people, we don't
So
tend to
let's
think
talk about that.
Right.
So let's talk
Generational
about that.
wealth.
That's
So,
right.
so where I'm going with this is for us as boomers, we have, my granddaughter is 22. My great grandchildren, right? So when we talk about legacy,
Yep.
when we talk about legacy, this is how you do it. This is how you do it. This is how you transfer wealth
That's right.
that cannot be touched
Yes.
because it's not considered an asset.
That's where that wealthy comes
Because
from.
it's life
Private banking.
insurance,
Yep. Insurance.
which makes it private
Yep.
banking, right? So when we think of life insurance, we think of final expense, just enough to put them in the ground,
Right.
just enough to go to get them cremated. I don't mean to make light of it, but that's just
death
how we
insurance.
think about it.
Right.
They should
That's
call it death insurance.
Right, right.
Right, this is life insurance.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I'm a stand
Because you can
For
use it while
us-
you're living.
for reaching enough people that little brown babies are not born into ground zero anymore.
That's beautiful.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I invite you to share that with me because it's time out for that.
Yeah.
Every generation comes in with nothing, right? We know better than that now,
Yep.
right? The point is we get to do better, but we didn't have the tools. We didn't have the knowledge. We didn't have the wisdom. We do now. Now all we have are excuses for not doing it.
Can I say something with that? With that comes the ones that do know about it. They make sure when their child is either even before they're born or when they're born, they take advantage of that. That's why they come
That's
in.
right. And so the way that works, thank you, is that when a child is born, you can legally insure them when they're 15 days old. So what a wealthy mindset person does is insure that child for $1 million. It costs pennies. right? Because the baby's young, huge life expectancy, right? No risk, hardly, right, at all. The insurance company says, sure. In North Carolina, the parents have to have at least that twice as much, okay? All right, you cannot just insure your baby for $1 million and you only got a $20,000 policy, okay? Right, so you have to be this, and this. I'm sharing that because there are doors that we have to walk through in order to get here. Okay? All right, so you can insure the child at 15 days old for $1 million. As that index account, that private banking account is growing for that child, the money inside the cash value is growing at the same time the child is growing. By the time the child is 10, there's enough money to pay for private school. By the time the child is going to college, there's enough money to pay for college. By the time they're getting ready to buy their first car, get their first house, pay for the wedding, the money is built in.
And not taxed.
And not taxed.
And not taxed.
That's right, because it's
And
not
his
income.
other part, it didn't cost the parents anything to raise the child.
Nope.
Because they built the money in when the child was born for how they were going to feed it and clothe it and pay for its education and give it a life.
But it's also a banking tool.
It is, that's banking.
But it's also, like I hear you, if you don't mind me
No,
interjecting.
please.
Okay. The way that I read it was that, which makes it fabulous, is that you can take the money out to buy a car. But the secret is that you charge yourself maybe 2% of what that car was. And let's say you took out $30,000 to buy that car. You charge yourself 2% and put all that money back in. And you still have this insurance over here in the other column, working for you while your money is growing.
So
it's generating.
So it's paying interest on money that you're using to buy stuff with. That is fabulous.
Yep.
And so
That's the way
so a lot of times that's kind of over people's head, but I'm so glad that you brought that up. No, I want you to.
That's right.
Because the fact is when you realize that you're a private banker,
Do what you want.
when you have this,
That's right.
You can use it to buy everything that you want to buy. Where in a 401k,
was one of my
you take
dreams.
your money out, they
You
charge you
penalize.
penalty and taxes. This money you can take out and use for whatever you want to use it for. And when you pay it back on one of the programs that we have, it is the interest rate that you pay on the loan is only 0.75, not even 2%. Okay. So you're actually making money on money that you use because it's as if the money never left the account.
Right. Powerful.
That's
Powerful.
Okay. Thank you so much.
financial
Yes, sir.
church.
Amen. Go on, do that dance. Do that dance.
Right? So how do we help families? How do we help families? Through orientations like this. Thank you so much for coming today. Right? My job is to give you value today. To give you information that you can use when you leave here. How do we help families? How do you help us reach families? We offer a free financial needs analysis. I told you we were talking about money and business. Yes?
Yep.
Okay. So we offer people a free financial needs analysis because families don't, first of all, even know where they are right now. Right? They don't know where they are right now. So we go in and we talk to them about cash flow. What is cash flow? It's money in, money out.
Right.
That's cash flow. Right? Most of the time, there's more money going out than coming in.
Yep.
So what we have to do is we got to manage the expenses and earn additional income. Okay? So how many could use some additional income? An additional $500 a month, additional $1,000 a month, additional $5,000 a month.
Yes.
Okay?
And I have two things.
Additional $100 a month. You know what I'm saying? I just pay my cell bill.
Right.
Right? Right? So we help you increase your cash flow. Next, we make sure you have proper protection. Right? We said the number one part of the foundation was what? Protection. So you have to have proper protection. You have to ensure your income, right? Protect against loss of income. So when you have a couple in the household, you have a single parent, right? Children in the household. If that person is disabled, or passes away, how much money is left for the family to continue their lifestyle?
None.
So it's in too many cases. In too many cases.
Scrounging around.
So you have to protect your income. When I showed you the slide and when you got to the $320,000 and we thought that was a lot of money and it's really only $32,000 a year for 10 years, right? If one of the breadwinners, because it takes in most households, two incomes coming in to make ends meet. If one of them is gone, that means that family has to move out of that zip code.
Right.
They're not driving that car anymore. You see what I'm saying? Right? All right. So that's important. Wealthy people insure themselves against poverty. Yeah. Wealthy people insure themselves against poverty. Okay? Emergency fund. Here it says 3 to 6 months. It's really 9 to 12 months. Right? I'm giving you the insider information. Right?
Right.
So it's really 9 to 12 months, because if you get unemployed, it takes longer to find a new job nowadays.
Right.
Right? Because the industries have changed. We've gone from industrial industries, right, to what kind of industries? To digital technology, information, right? And if you're not retooled, if you're not certified in all that stuff, if you haven't retooled, then the jobs that you might be looking for may not exist anymore.
Right.
At your skill set, right? So it may take you longer. You need to have a whole year's worth of money saved up just in case. Because how many of you have heard of people being laid off?
Yep.
Right? Downsized, outsourced, right?
Yep.
Next is debt management. We talked about how the rule of 72 can work for you or against you. And for most households, it's working what?
Against
them. Right? Against them. So you get to do something about that. So we help to eliminate debt. We help to settle debt. Okay? We have programs to do that. And the last two is to build and preserve wealth. The conversation that we hardly ever have in our community. I can't say never, right? But the conversation we hardly ever have in our community, and somebody's having it in your community because you know some things that most people don't know coming in here, okay?
Good stuff.
Is about building wealth and preserving wealth, the creation and conservation of wealth. We don't even hardly use the word wealth. Say wealth.
Wealth.
Say wealth.
Wealth.
Yeah. We use rich.
Right.
Right? The difference between rich and
wealth. That's right.
The difference between rich is I have enough money like for right now, and me and my friends, and I can take care of me right now, and I got the hoopty and I got all the stuff, right?
Right.
I got
bells and whistles, right?
Right. I got all the stuff, but I got nothing in the savings account. Right?
Right.
Okay. Rich shows up like that, right? You might have a little bit in the savings account, maybe feel like you got a cushion, but inflation is 4.5%, and if you didn't get a 4.5% raise on your job, you're under the bus. If you're not getting 4.5% on your savings account, where you have your money accumulating, you're under the bus, because every year eggs go up, milk go up.
Yes.
Went up again the day after
Yes. Give me 99 cents back.
Right?
Give me 99
Everything.
Okay.
Goodness.
Yeah. Right. So she says the struggle is real.
Yes.
So let me tell you, wait a minute. We are so committed to the struggle.
We are.
We are so committed to the struggle that we don't realize that we don't have to struggle.
Nope.
That's right.
Because we've been raised with the struggle mentality.
Right.
And building wealth is a different mindset. Okay? So the struggle is only real because we keep continuing to choose to struggle.
Right.
The information is here, and because we will not save, and because we will not stop using and spending other people's money to get the things that we think we have to have that are so important, that are meaningless, in comparison to having enough to retire on, having enough to leave the babies, having enough to build communities.
Right.
Okay?
Just that sometimes everything, and I'm telling you, because yesterday that happened to me, like everything goes in bills. And it's not that I have stuff that I,
Do you speak Spanish?
I do.
Yes.
That's great.
So it's like, yeah, I'm sorry for my accent, but
I'm excited up here right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so continue. I'm sorry.
So it's like everything goes in bills, like student loans for something that I'm not even working for.
Yes.
Because I'm a registered nurse in Puerto Rico, but I cannot be a registered nurse here unless I go back to school, which is $25,000
Right.
per semester. So it's like, I'm a professional nanny right now, but everything goes student loans, rent, car payment, and then for being a nanny, you need to have a reliable car. So it's not that you can have something old and drive around. No, you need something that is reliable. So everything goes in bills, and it's like how I save, how I do this, how I do that. If everything goes in bills,
that's what this is about, right? Because if you take $1 and put it in a sock in the corner of your drawer, it creates a mentality, right? It creates a neurotransmitter in your brain that says, I can save.
Yep.
And once you start having the belief that you can save, because right now you're in a place that says, I can't save.
That's right.
Because I don't have enough money.
You're
right.
But if you put $1, 4 quarters.
Right.
You hear what I'm saying? How simple it is. You begin, then at the end of the month, how many dollars is that? 30.
At least
Or
30.
31, depending on
Right.
Come on now.
Exactly.
28 if it's only 13 moons.
Okay.
Okay? So you can save. Okay?
That's right.
That money didn't go to bills.
Can I speak to what
Do you hear what I'm saying?
what you were saying about building wealth and saving, and how we don't think that there's a different mentality out there? Because when you get paid, I was told that you should save 10%.
Pay yourself first.
Yes.
And
Pay yourself
then
first.
What you do is you make the adjustment,
Yes.
and then you pay everything else. But pay yourself first.
Pay
Right.
yourself first.
Can I
is the first
elaborate
one.
on
All for
that?
that.
I went to a Rich Dad, Poor Dad, my husband and I went to, and what I gained from that was to never exceed a third of your income. So, like her, when I get my check, I save off the top. And my job, I own my own business, but I do still work a 9 to 5. But my job, they don't take taxes out my check. That's why I stay there.
Right.
And I keep a certain hours a week because you're not taking all my time.
Right.
You know? But that's, you know, what I was taught. You will never accrue debt if you never exceed a third of your income.
Right.
Don't live beyond your means.
That's
What
exactly
it is.
what
Yeah.
it is.
Because if you would say $40 a week, like that's I mean, it may be mediocre or just small to somebody else, but $40 if we don't go to Chili's, that's $40 right there.
Exactly.
You miss it.
Right.
Exactly.
So I think we just have to move smarter.
Toward. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. And so, because
Yep.
it's the action.
It's a mindset.
Right? It's the mindset and the way that, and mindset has to be backed up by activity.
Yes.
Okay, by activity. That's why I say put the 4 quarters away.
Yeah.
Right? Because it changes your mindset. Go, well, I can save. And what will happen is the universe will start giving you more. Right?
That's true.
And you begin to expand, because what you focus on expands. Right? What you give your attention to expands. And so because you change that one habit in your life, it will begin to expand. So when you talk about being self-employed, right? When you talk about being self-employed,
Yep.
if you're not, so I don't know what you do. You don't have to tell me, but let's just say stylist, right? If you're not behind a chair, you're not making any money.
Right.
If you're self-employed, if you're a barber, if you're a lawyer, if you're a doctor, right? You're self-employed, but if you're not present, you're not making any money. Okay? There's a difference between employee, you know, it's the 4 quadrants: the employee, the self-employed, and then on the other side, where the wealth is the business owner, who has a system
Yep.
That's right.
that they run,
That's right.
Right.
and the system generates money,
Right.
and they don't have to be there.
Nope. Still making
Right.
money.
So how about this? The reason why we couldn't get in the conference room and all this stuff is happening because I have a business that's in Atlantic City, that's in New Jersey, and Marcus, our marketing director, senior marketing director, is in New Jersey, building my team in New Jersey. I don't have to be there, but am I making money?
Yes. Yep.
Right, because they're building their dream, and they don't. Right, so. Can we do this together as a community?
Yes.
That's what this is really about. That's what this is about. So when you think it's all going to bills, we just get to shift that. And this financial needs analysis is what we really need to do, to sit down with you, look at where everything is going, do some debt management. Okay?
Yes.
Right? Do some debt management. Let's strive to consolidate, eliminate debt.
Cut them credit cards up because you're never going to win.
You cannot win with a credit card. You cannot win with a credit card. All right?
The thing is that I only have one, and it's $300.
Keep that one for emergencies.
You
and
right. For the rent a car, you just need one.
Right.
One.
Exactly.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So that's very good. That's very good.
But when you buy houses, they tell you that you need at least 4 streams of basically being lynched, I call it.
Okay.
You got to have 4 open lines of credit to get a home.
Right.
Right. Yep. And so they make it.
They sway you into.
They all work together to make it like
so
that.
You have to be. So as aggressive as they are to come get you, you have to be as aggressive on the other side to not be got.
Oh, I'm the aggressive when I break it down.
You have to do it. And the thing about it is you have to have the tools
to do it.
To do it. We equip you with the tools to do it.
Like that tax-free, tax advantage.
Okay. Yeah. We equip you.
Yep.
All right. So this is where we go.
Powerful, powerful stuff.
All right. Timing is everything. Right? And then when I opened today, I said, it might seem like we're a little bit disjointed today, but I knew it was going to be powerful because whenever it starts out like that, so
the devil didn't want us to hear.
So for those of you who think that it's the devil that does this stuff, right? So I know I'm more powerful than that.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's right.
Right? Because
you got something else. You got somebody else on your side.
Exactly. Right? So this is powerful for us. So what I'd like you to do as we talk about timing is to think about it in dollar signs, right? Even though, get this, time is not money. And we've been taught that time is money. And time is life. Right? Time is life. Time is not money. Time is life. So, in 1946, we already talked about this. What was going on? World War II, right? First time women were able to go into the workforce. I shared that with you, right? In 1946, when the baby boomers, 78 million people were born because when the guys came back from war, every woman who could have a baby had about 4. Okay? Right? Created the baby boomers.
It was reproducing.
Right? So 78 million people were born between 1946 and 1964, right? I'm a baby boomer. Wow. So baby boomers, so who fed those 78 million mouths? Who's the baby food company?
Gerber.
How come we all know that name? Because they blew up because they felt this need, right? Gerber. There's another baby food company out there. I can't Beach Nut, right?
Beach Nut, yeah.
We don't know them as well. I had to think about that for a minute.
They're still around.
Right? I know they are. They are.
Gerber is.
But so let me tell you this about Gerber. Gerber is in the life insurance.
Yep.
Yes. Okay.
Yep.
All right, just one. Okay.
You want just 10? You want 10? You want just 10? You can show your baby. You can show him.
Yeah. Right. Just want to
send your stuff in the mail all the time.
So here we are, 78 million babies. Now babies need rattles, right?
Babies need toys.
They need toys.
Yep.
Right. So the toy store that blew up,
Toys R Us.
For them, KB Toys. KB Toys, yeah. I know. Yeah, got hold of them. They used to be in a mall. They used to be in every mall. When malls first
Where are they now?
I know you can't believe that there was such thing as when we didn't
They
have
closed
cell phones
it.
in malls, right?
They're closing.
So exactly.
Amazon
So let's
they didn't protect themselves.
Hey,
watch this.
let's look at that.
What's that?
That's a very powerful conversation because it got you engaged, right? So let's look at that. If KB Toys served the baby boomers, right, and then Toys R Us took over, and now Toys R Us is out of business. Right? Toys R Us is out of business because everything went digital.
Yeah,
I think they're still online though.
Right. Well, everything went digital.
Right.
All right. And then, but who owns the digital space?
Amazon.
Owns the digital space. Right. And who owns the box stores now? Walmart. Owns the box store. So you either shopping at Walmart. That's Walmart, right? You either shopping at Walmart or Amazon.
Yep.
But you know what? Walmart has the most trade lines in the world. I think they have 540.
That's because everything they bring in is from out of the country.
But they got the most trade lines in the world.
You gotta have trade lines in order to be able to do that.
I know.
Yeah.
They
I just
planned.
wonder why
Right.
everybody's so mean.
They had a plan.
Right. And when you read Sam Walton's story, you will understand why they have so many trade lines. You got to read the biographies of people who have done it. Okay, so that's the toy story, right?
Mhm.
Yep.
Then what happened? So you got women just in the workforce. They got 4 kids, right? Their husbands just came home from war. Ain't nobody trying to cook.
Gotta go out and eat.
Right?
Mm-mm.
Right? So ain't nobody trying to cook. So who do we have now on the scene?
Fast
We got
food.
McDonald's, we got Dave, we
Burger
got
King.
the Colonel, right? Right? We got the Whopper. We got all that happening. Then now the children, the 78 million children, right? Now they're old enough to drive. What's the first muscle car?
Mustang.
Ford Mustang, right? It's a Ford Mustang. First muscle car came into being because teenagers, right? So I'm going to date myself again, right? So how many of you ever seen Happy Days?
Yep.
The
Yeah, I like
Vines
Happy
and all that
Days.
kind of stuff, right? That's that era.
Yep.
Okay, got it? All right. So we know that the car. So let's look at the car like we looked at the toys, right?
Mhm.
So it went from the Mustang to the station wagon.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Right.
families got bigger.
Because families got bigger. Then it went from the station wagon to
The
the
minivans.
Minivan. And then from the minivan to
SUV.
And now they got things called Hummers out there. You know what I'm saying? I don't know who they built that one for, but
Military.
Now they're going back down to the smaller cars.
Yep.
Because people can't afford all those kids anymore, so it's like history's reversing itself.
well, what's happening
And
is
gas.
And now these cars are getting ready to drive you. You would not
Thank you.
drive
It's
these
a digital,
cars anymore.
right?
Mhm.
So pay attention.
Yeah.
That's what the timeline is. That's why I'm asking you to see dollar signs here, right?
Mhm.
Because not only are the cars getting smaller, the baby boomers, right?
I'm moving
are,
out.
right?
Retiring.
But before we die,
Retiring.
before we make our transition, we need a house.
Yeah.
Okay? So the next market, we're gonna come back. So the next market was what? The real estate boom, right? So we've seen the real estate boom and the real estate bust, right?
Right.
We've seen it crash, right?
Correction.
And so now,
No,
right?
that's a crash.
We're trying to be polite. Correction.
They all are downsizing. So at one point there were these big
So when you
spreads,
hear it
right?
again, you
Everybody
know
was
it's a
going this
crash.
Suburban flight, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now everybody's coming into urban,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
right? The houses getting smaller,
Yep.
right? The cars got smaller,
Yep.
right? Because
Tiny.
I'm a baby boomer. Ain't no kid, no babies in my
Clown.
house,
I don't need
right?
all that.
I drive a
I don't
Jeep
need all that.
Renegade.
You know.
You know
Right.
what I'm saying, right? Right? So ain't no room for me.
That's a plan.
That's right? And I've had the other cars.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I've been there, done that. I just need something functional.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? So when you see people
Yep.
riding them cars that look like roller skates,
Oh.
right? It's just like,
Oh my goodness.
Like, really?
Right.
But you got the Fiat, you got the smart cars.
Cyan, you got
Mini
the
Coopers.
Eon, is
Right,
it Eon?
right,
The
right.
toy looking cars.
Spark.
Right.